young kid like that, obviously super talented, is on a smaller team, big fish in a smaller pond. You actually can excel in environments like that. So for him, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. He was able to have free cards to play in these races, win the stage of Tour de France, super successful in Tour de Switzerland. I don't see that as a negative being part of that team.
Everybody, welcome back to The Move. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with George Hincapie and Johan Bruyneel. We are breaking down the Tour of Switzerland, won by João Almeida with Kévin Vauquelin in second, Oscar Onley in third. And we'll talk about the implications that has for the upcoming Tour de France. And we'll also get into George Hincapie's new team announced today. But first, let's hear from our sponsors, and then we'll let George talk about his team and its goals for this coming season. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Peak Pour Teas. As cyclists, we've all learned the hard way. Energy, endurance, and digestion can make or break your performance. When we're training hard, we can all start to feel really bloated after meals, sluggish mid-ride, and totally crash by the end. But that's all changed the moment I started using Peak's Pour Teas. Their Pour Tea Bundle is a performance duo, fermented green and black teas designed to reset your gut, boost your metabolism, and deliver long-lasting clean energy. Nowadays, I start every big ride with their green pour. It gives me calm, focused energy without the jitters or crashes I used to get from too much coffee. That's a big problem in mine, just slamming too many coffees. And after a ride, Black Pour is my recovery secret. It helps reduce bloating, support digestion, and leaves me feeling light and ready to go again. They also have a nice bundle of morning electrolytes, beauty electrolytes. I'm sure you've all noticed a difference on these video feeds that I'm looking fantastic. But it's not because of anything I'm doing other than drinking my beauty electrolytes from Peak Teas. And all of their products are wild harvested from 250-year-old trees, toxin screened and made with cold extraction technology for maximum absorption. This means it can instantly dissolve in hot or cold water, which is perfect. When you wake up, you just pop it in your first glass of water in the morning. Boom, you're drinking your beauty electrolytes. Trust me, I never go anywhere without it. I'm in London right now for a few weeks, and I brought my Peak Teas with me. For a limited time, you can get 20% off for life. That's an insane deal. Plus a free starter kit which includes rechargeable frother and glass beaker. And when you grab the Pour bundle with our link, peaklife.com/themove, you get a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose. Try it now at peakuelife.com/themove and feel the difference on your next ride. Again, peaklife.com/themove. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by NordVPN. With NordVPN, you can access your favorite streams and other content from home, no matter where you go, as well as browsing safely. And you can easily switch your virtual location to access apps and websites in other countries. This is super helpful for me at the moment because, full disclosure, I'm not in the United States and I'm doing a show about the Tour of Switzerland. Well, I wasn't about to fork over $550 or whatever it is for the TNT Sports app in the UK. Holy smokes, that's expensive. All I had to do was fire up my NordVPN and I could switch my location to wherever it needed to be so I could use my fantastic apps and my no free ads. I'm not going to tell you what I use, but I could watch all the racing in the last week from my phone and devices like my laptop. I get 10 devices to one account so I could have multiple races streaming at once. It's easy to use. You connect with one click and enable auto connect for 0-click protection. Available 7,500 different servers in 118 different countries, so you can change your location easily. And if you're thinking, I wanted to do a VPN, but it's too hard. Well, don't think that anymore, because with NordVPN, all you do, download the app, set up an account, and you're good. You click, one click, boom, you're browsing from wherever you want to be in the world. You might think, well, VPNs make your speed slow. That's not true. With NordVPN, you have one of the fastest VPNs in the world. You'll notice no lag. And as I said, you can use it on 10 devices, and it supports every major platform: Windows, Android, iOS, and Mac OS. Get your exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/themove. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, no risk to you. You can just cancel. Link is in the show notes. But if you're feeling confident with your spelling, nordvpn.com/themove. Check it out today. Check it out before the Tour de France, if I'm going to be honest, because you're going to want that VPN if you want to access anything but the American television version of the tour coverage. All right, let's get into the show. All right, George, before we get into the Tour of Switzerland and the thrilling action that I'm sure everyone on the show and listening to the show watched line to line, you want to talk about the big announcement that actually came out just earlier today about your pro team, second division level professional team for this coming season?
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. We're starting a team called Modern Adventure Pro Cycling Team. We want to sort of invigorate U.S. cycling. We have so much top talent right now that are on teams scattered all over the World Tour. My ultimate goal is to try to get them all back under one team and be America's dream team. I know it's going to take several years to get there, but I finally have a long-term commitment and a runway to grow this project.
And it's fully based in Europe, correct? Like service course in Girona.
Yeah, we're going to have a service course in Girona, but we are going to try to tackle the gravel scene here as well, because it's becoming more and more important for our equipment suppliers. So we do want to have a presence here in the U.S., whatever that means. There obviously isn't that many races in the U.S., but we'll be doing whatever the gravel racing scene is with a small portion of the team, like probably 15 to 20% of them. And then the rest will be focused on getting into as many races that we can in Europe and trying to grow the brand and the team that way.
And what is Modern Adventure, George?
Modern Adventure is a really high-end boutique travel firm. They curate trips all over the world, food and wine trips, and ultimately now cycling trips all over the world. And that's kind of what they focus on, is travel and food and wine. I think it really resonates with our sport as well. As you know, we have a lot of travel enthusiasts, wine enthusiasts, and food enthusiasts that are part of our world, so to speak. And I think it's a great partner to have.
Good. Any? I mean, I don't know if you can say, but any names that we would know that you have signed for the moment? We're
close to signing LOIs with about 10 Americans right now. We'll be announcing those in the next few weeks.
Okay. Exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
Are you expanding that to North Americans? Maybe Isaac Del Toro on your list?
Yeah, we are not limited to just Americans, but so obviously we need a 20 rider. We have a 20 rider minimum, so we'll be signing people from all over the world. But our quota, so to speak, is for at least 10 Americans.
Okay.
Well, they need it, because Quinn Simmons posed this not really a question. He just said it's great to win in the national champions jersey after his stage 3 win at the Tour of Switzerland, because he said it hasn't been done in a long time. I asked ChatGPT. They did point out, I think this is right, Taylor Phinney winning in 2012 in the Giro d'Italia in the time trial, like in a prologue wearing the U.S. national champions jersey. But according to ChatGPT, I don't think this is true. They're saying it hadn't happened before Quinn Simmons, but the fact that we can't even really remember it shows that U.S. cycling probably does need a leg up, and it's good you're starting an American-focused team, George.
Thank you. I agree.
Well, on to the Tour of Switzerland, where American cycling was on full display. Johan, I think there was a day where there's a 4-rider break. 3 of the riders were American. So we are making some noise. But stage 1, I'll do like a quick 45-second recap of this race. Stage 1, terrible weather, big breakaway. Romain Grégoire wins. João Almeida not in the break. He loses 3.5 minutes by the time the race finishes. So he's automatically down on riders like Ben O'Connor. Kévin Vauquelin, I believe, was in that move. He gets the yellow jersey. And then he gets the yellow jersey eventually. Stage 2, won by Vincenzo Albanese after Quinn Simmons launched a sprint a little bit too early, blew up the entire sprint. EF profited from that with Albanese winning. Stage 3, Quinn Simmons, didn't get the win the day before, not a problem. I'll just get in the breakaway right off the front, hold off everybody. Super impressive solo win from him. Stage 4, João Almeida, another impressive solo win. The climb crested like 50K from the finish line. He just he didn't even really attack. He just rode everybody off his wheel, held him off, won the stage, gets closer in the GC. Oscar Onley wins stage 5 with the sprint with João Almeida. A suspicious looking sprint, but we've been assured there was no shenanigans. Stage 6, Jordi Meus wins in a bunch sprint. Stage 7, João Almeida wins on a mini summit finish. And then stage 8, João Almeida wins his 3rd stage of the Tour of Switzerland. I believe the first rider since Peter Sagan to do that. And takes the yellow jersey on the final day, the last possible time, to win the overall, which means he's won his last 3 stage races, the Basque Country, Romandy, and Tour of Switzerland. Doing pretty well, running pretty hot going into the Tour de France. But Johan, what was your take on this race and how it affects the upcoming Tour?
Well, I mean, we've talked about it in the other podcast, Spencer, on Friday. The fact that we didn't know yet that João Almeida was going to win. We had a suspicion. But the fact that he comes back from 3 minutes 30 after stage one, gets little bits of time back and then basically kills everybody in the time trial shows that he's on amazing form. He had a team that could protect him. They were not, UAE was not dominant as a team, but they kind of always put him in a good position. And whenever he decided to go for the stage win, they could keep the break within control. So already that is definitely very impressive. Other than that, I don't think we should be surprised. Almeida was the heavy favorite, the only big favorite actually before the Tour of Switzerland. The fact that, they weren't paying attention in stage one made it more exciting, but it's still the same winner. I think nobody would have thought that Kévin Vauquelin would have been in that position until the time trial. Not even himself. He said, he didn't know where he was with his form. He didn't even think about top 10. He came there to get some rhythm for the Tour. And he did amazing. He got the yellow jersey of Romain Grégoire in the first hard stage and then held on to it. And, I think he was just unlucky to meet an extraordinarily strong João Almeida in that last time trial, because the time he took on everybody was incredible. But the confirmation that Kévin Vauquelin is still, it's still a young rider. We saw him last year win a hard stage in the Tour, stage 2, if I'm not mistaken. This guy is a complete rider. He can climb, he can time trial. He moves teams now. So as we all know, Arkea B&B hotels, they don't have a sponsor for next year. So most likely that team is going to fold. He already, of course, was on the wish list of a lot of teams. And as far as, if my information is correct, he goes to Ineos. So I think this is a rider which definitely is developing into one of the big names of cycling for the future.
Yeah, not only that, but I love his racing style. In the yellow jersey, I forget what stage it was, but does like a massive attack with 600 meters to go, and essentially almost wins the stage. But for him, that's to still have that aggression and that desire to win, even being in the yellow jersey where you should most likely be in a protective, defensive role. I thought it was quite exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about like Ineos. I'm not in love with that destination. I just feel like we've seen this movie before, but Johan, I'm confused. Why did he come back this year to Arkea B&B hotels? This is like as good as he would have done anyway. But
he was on Arkea.
I know, but he was on Arkea last year, did amazing, and then just like, could he not have jumped to a bigger team already? Well,
he obviously had a multi-year contract, and he was probably, the biggest paid rider of the team after what was it, Champoussin, and there's a few guys from Arkea who they let go. So I think they used that money to give him a raise and be, the leader of the team.
And a lot of people don't see, like, young kid like that, obviously super talented, is on a smaller team, big fish in a smaller pond. You actually can excel in environments like that. So for him, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. He was able to have free cards to play in these races, win the stage of Tour de France, super successful in Tour de Switzerland. I don't see that as a negative being part of that team for these last couple years.
Let's not forget also, Spencer, second in Flèche Wallonne.
Yeah.
After Pogacar.
Yeah.
Not Pogacar. And also I think he won, I don't remember the stage race, if it was Bessèges, Étoile de Bessèges. He won that
every year, but
yeah.
Well, it's one of these early season races in France that it's like a tradition. He's only 24 years old. I feel like he's won it the last 4 years. But yeah, you're right, George. There's a lot of guys on Movistar currently. The Romo, like doing well at that kind of level. Team Matteo Jorgensen as well did really well coming up like that. And then just quickly, let's touch on these guys before we go back to Almeida. Oscar Onley in third from Picnic Post-Denel. Kind of the interesting thing here is you have UAE winning, biggest team in the sport, best team in the sport. Second and third are Arkea B&B hotels, and then which is a second division team, Picnic Post-Denel, which is a first division team, but is doing incredibly poorly this year. So those are big results for them. interesting to me that these are two young riders. Like Oscar Onley is only 22 years old. So that's a really good result. Third place for a 22-year-old on Picnic Boestenel.
Yeah, but he's a good climber. He's been there for, I mean, last year already he was quite often in the front. And now, I mean, and you can actually see, I mean, he's really young and you can see the way I mean, I don't know if it's his personality, if he's shy, but his interviews are incredibly careful. He's not used to be, in the spotlight, but this guy, I mean, he's a really good climber, big talent.
I mean, I'm in the UK right now, and like on the BBC Morning News, they had like Oscar Onley's third place at Switzerland. So the spotlight is probably a little uncomfortable for him, but is he staying at Picnic next year? Is he going to a bigger team?
I haven't seen anything. So I think he's going to stay unless they get relegated. If they get relegated, then automatically he could get out of his contract and find another team.
Yeah, and that's like a very fluid situation. Like currently, they're not relegated. They've jumped ahead of Cofidis, and then Uno X is also closing in on both of them. Mm-hmm. But then also, if they get relegated and then they're in the top 3 second division teams, then they are safe and they don't have to worry about it. So we'll know what happens, I guess, at the end of the season. But to go back to Almeida winning it, personally very big for João Almeida. Like before, Basque Country, it seemed like he was struggling to kind of close the deal on these 1 week stage races. Now he's winning them consistently 3 in a row. It's a huge deal. 3 World Tour 1 week races.
That's really big.
It's kind of, I think we talked about on Friday, Johan. I think it's confirming his position as like maybe best of the rest behind Evenepoel, Vingegaard, Pogacar, but also for UAE. You mentioned on Friday, if you're Visma watching this and thinking, oh, we got a pretty good team, pretty strong team. It's like, well, this guy's coming to the Tour to work for Tadej Pogacar, and he's just won 3 consecutive stage races. Mm-hmm. I'd imagine that gives them a little bit of a boost internally.
Well, let's not forget last year he was questionably not working as much as we thought he should have been working in similar positions during the Tour. So hopefully that's changed. I would assume it has, but yeah.
Well, I think George, I think that I think that he was there whenever he was needed. Yeah. He obviously got the permission of the team. Let's not forget he finished 4th in the Tour de France. So that's one of the things that I think has changed, drastically in the last in modern cycling, is that you guys who actually can go for a GC when they're done with their job, they keep going.
They keep going,
right? Which is something I still don't really fully understand, because nobody can tell me that once you've done your job and you need to be doing it again the day after, if you take it easy for the last 5-6K, that's just going to be a massive advantage. So anyway, he was 4th in the Tour, and whenever Pogacar needed him, he was there. Pogacar was never isolated or alone. So I think, listen, let's see also, it's not, last year he was also strong in Tour of Switzerland. I think he didn't win the Tour of Switzerland, but I think he was actually the strongest rider, especially in the second part of the Tour of Switzerland. Adam Yates won, and he was second. But it's not because you're flying in the Tour of Switzerland that you're at the same level in the Tour de France. We've seen guys flying in Dauphiné and Tour of Switzerland and then not being on the top of their game in the Tour. I expect João Almeida to be really good though. But if you look at his season, he didn't take that many breaks. You see, he started in Algarve, then he did Paris-Nice. First Valencia, Algarve, Paris-Nice, and then Romandy, Basque Country, Romandy, Switzerland. It's a lot of races.
Yeah. You can't tell me he's going to go into the Tour de France not hoping to better his performance of last year.
I think
wanting to be on a podium, which makes it for an interesting tactic.
I don't get that. I don't get that.
He's definitely going to want to. George is right. He's going to want to be on the podium. You finished 4th. And then, he probably could be.
The thing is also, for UAE, this is, if you have a guy like Almeida, if you take away Pogacar and Jonas, he's a threat to win the Tour, this guy. So whatever happens in the first part of the Tour, if he's in groups, he's he's not famous to go into big groups and sneak away. It's rather the opposite. He's rather always caught on the back foot. But having a guy like him is definitely strategically a big advantage, because he's maybe the third or the fourth strongest rider in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, it can make for some really, really interesting, fun tactics in the first 10 days of the Tour de France. As you have a guy like Simon Yates on Visma, João Almeida on UAE. I mean, they can play with those guys, and then all of a sudden you have the top 10 teams that are not going to be able to let them go. So it will be a lot of action in those first 10 days of the Tour.
But George, here's a question: what would you do? So let's just imagine there's a scenario in just before the mountains. There's a stage which is difficult to control, rolling terrain, and there's a big group that goes, and Visma has Simon Yates in it, and UAE has João Almeida in it. What would both of those teams do? Will they put all their money on their guy? Let's say the race gets out of control, right? And they take 10 minutes, which it could happen,
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure, but I do envision something like that potentially happen, like you said. But the quick steps and the other teams are going to have to take over right away, because that could potentially be their spot. So I think those other teams that are, second, third, fourth, fifth place, sixth place scenario teams, they will have to work right away before, UAE and Visma cancel each other out. Somebody else will step up.
Yeah.
Johan, I would say if that was the case, and George is right, people would chase it down. But if that was the case, I think UAE should feel confident in their ability. Like, okay, Almeida is now your leader, and he's taking a bunch of time.
Yeah, but listen, Simon Yates is a double Grand Tour winner.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
But
this guy knows what it is to win a Grand Tour. The Tour de France is the only Grand Tour he didn't win.
Hey, listen, guys, João Almeida only knows winning. Okay. This guy is, and I've never said anything different. But just to put this in context, this final TT, it doesn't look like much on paper. It was 10K long. It was almost 30 minutes, which is probably one.
No, it was really hard, Spencer. It was really hard. So
9% average for the last 9.5K. João Almeida does in 26 minutes, 37 seconds. VAM, almost 1900, 1896 VAM. If you assume 65 kilos, roughly, that's like 440 watts at like 6.77 watts per kilo. So that's pretty good.
after 8 days of racing, and him racing really aggressively.
Yeah. And last year at Swiss, stage 6, he did put out 7 watts per kilo for almost 20 minutes. But if you remember, that was a goofy stage where it was like a 40-kilometer stage or something, where they had to cancel most of the stage.
I remember. Yeah.
So that's about as good as you're ever going to get. So the fact that this was like a real 30-minute effort, and that was 10 minutes shorter. There's like a 30-minute effort at the end of 8 days of racing, 7 days of racing. That's pretty good. But yeah, as you say, Simon Yates, double Grand Tour winner. So nothing to scoff at. Before we move on to Quinn Simmons, someone sent in this question. I thought it was very good. It's from Corey, and it's relevant to what we're talking about. If you're the manager of Visma, this is at the Tour, and you've decided podium and stage wins don't matter at all, it's first place or nothing, your only goal is to beat Tadej, what would your strategy be? George, you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, the team has got to go all in for his first place, top step on the podium. What does that mean? That means, they have to risk losing second and third pretty much every day, and making UAE do all the work at all times, sending their guys in breakaways to make UAE even work harder. I mean, those are really the only options. Is they can't race to protect second or third. They have to be willing to risk it all and lose top 10 for that matter in order to win the race.
Yeah. And they have to, they have to be really very attentive in the first half of the Tour, and play with Simon Yates and Matteo Jorgensen. Those are the two guys they need to send in breaks and groups, and then hope. And also, I mean, that's one thing you can hope. You can think, okay, we're going to let UAE do all the work, but as we all know, George, in the Tour, you always find allies for whatever reason it is. The Tour is so important. There's so many parallel classifications, or you always find allies. So it's hard to be in UAE position that they're going to be all alone. It usually never happens.
I agree. And also
some help.
10 days before they get into the real mountains, they're starting in Lille, France, small roads, exposed at times. We've seen what happened during Roubaix, or the stages that went through Roubaix. That could be echelon. So a team like Visma is going to have to look for every opportunity they can from day one, because they have such a long way to get to the mountains. And it's the Tour de France. I mean, anything can happen. There could be a 10-rider split on the first stage with somebody not paying attention and they're gone. Yeah,
but also, George, it's a knife that cuts both ways. I mean, if you have to pay attention. I mean, with all respect for Jonas, but he's not the best the guy to maneuver within the bunch. And so if usually when you put the herd on the peloton in those kind of stages with crosswind or stuff, you can have a split, but you have to pay attention that your main guy is there. Right.
Well, I have two things for that. One, you saw how good he was in the first stage of Dauphiné. Relatively flat stage. Yeah. Punchy climbs. He was the guy that ultimately made that split. So it makes me very optimistic of his flat rolling power right now. Number two, Wout van Aert. I mean, the best guy in the world in the wind, in short, punchy hills. They got to go all in to use him. And Jonas will be guaranteed stuck to his wheel in those first 10 days. And you never know. Maybe they can make a difference and find a place to, gain some time.
It's going to be interesting to see Jonas. He's so tiny. See him behind Van Aert, Affini, and Matteo Jorgensen.
Yeah.
That's like a wall. That's like a wall in front of you.
Jorgensen is, Wout van Aert's a good classics rider. Matteo Jorgensen is one of the best classics riders in the world.
Yeah.
Kind of forget about it. So, you got two pretty good classics riders on your team.
And Affini. And
Affini. Yeah. You could just be a one-man team.
Thies Benoot as well.
Thies Benoot, Victor Kampenaerts. Yeah.
I mean, this is where they have to. I wouldn't be surprised. They try to make a huge split in the crosswinds. Obviously, they're going to be expecting it, but guys like that, you got to use them, use their strengths in those first 10 days of the tour.
Yeah. The thing is also, George,
for winning.
I mean, nowadays there are no surprises anymore. They all know the course. I mean, with today's technology, every single detail is available. They have plenty of scouts out front. Plus, they have Velo Viewer and whatever else platform application. To see basically, they have virtual reality in the car, right? So it's difficult for somebody to surprise somebody, which also brings me to another point. I mean, if we're talking about the Tour de France, we're getting a bit off topic from the Tour of Switzerland, but this year's Tour de France, the first 10 days, man, that's going to be hell. Yeah. Because there's so many different factors, and with the stress that we have to be in front. It's always the same thing, and at the at the Tour there's the added pressure of this is the most important race. That's a bit my fear, that in the first part of the Tour we can lose one or several favorites due to crashes, and we're going to lose some.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to happen,
especially with how strong the sprinter teams are now.
Yeah,
the amount of work they're going to do the amount of work and the risk they're going to take to win stages. It unfortunately can mean collateral damage to some of these GC guys as well, as we all know in the first 10 days of the Tour de France.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Should Primoz just drop out now and go to the Vuelta?
I don't know. I still like Primoz. I'm hoping he's at his best and
maybe
gets through the Tour unscathed.
Maybe it's the one opportunity now that he doesn't start as the favorite. Nobody's talking about Primoz. Nobody's expecting him to be on the podium. We're always talking about other guys. Nobody's talking about Primoz. No pressure. If he can sail through the first week undamaged, let's not forget about him.
I agree.
He's a strong rider.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not inconceivable. I mean, this first 10 days is nuts. It's not crazy to think that Pogačar and Vingegaard suffer misfortune and Primoz makes it through. It is a little luck based for my taste, this first 10 days. But to answer the question, you could imagine Pogačar racking up actually a nice lead in the first 10 days because he's more of a puncher. But if you're Visma, you look for a way to maybe turn that on its head and have him on the back foot in the crosswinds, get some time. I mean, it happened right in 2020. He lost some time in the crosswinds. Like he does lose time at some point, maybe.
But that was because of a puncture, Spencer.
hope that happens again. We're talking about the best guy in the world. You got to like 5 things have to go your way to try to meet him. I mean, the time trial, Jonas can take time in the time trials. You would look at the time trials. And then also I would say UAE's how they manage the beginning of stages, I would probably zero in on that. Like they often are very poor with even accounting for who's in the move. Like when Jai Hindley got in that move in 2023 and it got out of hand too quickly, like something like that, you might want to take a look at. But long story short, not going to be easy at all. No. Speaking of not easy, first we should pause to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll get George's thoughts on Quinn Simmons at the Tour of Switzerland and what his future should be as technically the best American rider because he's the national champion. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Tushy. What if I told you the most luxurious seat in your house to listen to this podcast might actually be your toilet? Well, I've been using the Tushy Cloud Plus bidet, and it's completely changed the game. Installation took me less than 10 minutes, no plumber, no drama, and I can't do anything around the house. So that says a lot. And it instantly upgraded the entire vibe of the bathroom. The design is sleek, the seat is heated, and the warm water spray, way more effective and way more comfortable than toilet paper. Honestly, it feels cleaner, faster, and better for my skin. Their new Cloud Plus model even deodorizes the air the moment you sit down, which is of a level of luxury I didn't even know I needed before they offered it. And as I said, I'm away from home right now. And the thing I'm missing most about my home in the United States is my Tushy. If I dare say so myself, sure, they have bidets abroad. They're not as good as Tushy, though. And bidets are great, but Tushy bidets easily attach to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. So you don't have to have the space for a second thing in your bathroom. They give you 2-in-1 benefits as well, reducing irritation and preventing micro tears with the soothing water instead of scratchy toilet paper or damaging your pipes by flushing those wet wipes. Even if you're not supposed to flush them, are your house guests going to know that? No. So just get a Tushy and take care of it. So reclaim your comfort zone in the bathroom. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when they use code THEMOVE at checkout. That's 10% off their first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code THEMOVE, hellotushy.com. And remember, use code THEMOVE. This episode is brought to you by Helix Sleep. All right, let's talk about sleep. Because if you're anything like me, you know how much quality sleep impacts everything you do. And your energy, your focus and recovery, and even your mood can depend on it. A few months ago, I upgraded to a Helix mattress, and the difference has been night and day. Before Helix, I was waking up feeling stiff, not fully rested, especially after long travel weeks or big ride days. Since switching, not only does the mattress feel way more supportive and comfortable, but the data doesn't lie. My Garmin watch picked up deeper sleep and higher recovery scores almost immediately. That's consistently night after night, and it's made a huge difference in how I show up every day. I frankly even thought about sending a Helix mattress to myself in the UK. It became a bit of a logistical nightmare, so I didn't do it. But the Helix is so good, I really did think about just shipping it ahead to myself to have at my rental place out of the country. And this is serious. So let's listen up. They have a 4th of July best of web offer, 20% all orders on the website. And remember, this is 4th of July. So you got to get going on this. 20% all orders, helixsleep.com/themove to redeem this offer. Again, helixsleep.com/themove, and make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by OneSkin. Dry skin and deep wrinkles are all visible signs of aging. And let's be honest, none of us are immune, especially cyclists out there all day in the sun and the cold. None of that's good for your skin. And I'm not someone who obsesses over their looks, but I do care about keeping my skin healthy, especially as I get older. That's why I've been using OneSkin, especially their flagship topical supplement, OS1, because it's backed by real science. And it's been shown to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and even help with that thinning skin that sneaks up on you over time. And it's not just hype. Over 4,000 people have left 5-star reviews across their face, body, sun, and travel products. And I get it. You feel the difference. And this is definitely the time of year. We're going to be up in Aspen for the tour, for the move, filming of the move, recording of the move. and we're all going to be outside a lot. We're going to be riding. We're going to be commuting to and from the studio, potentially on bikes. And we're going to want those OneSkin products because we're going to have a lot of sun and a lot of dry air. And OneSkin is going to keep us moisturized and protected from the sun and hopefully looking good. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company, and by targeting skin aging at the cellular level, it helps your skin not just look, but actually act younger. Get started with 15% off using code THEMOVE at oneskin.co. That's oneskin.co, and use code THEMOVE for 15% off. All right, back to the show. All right, George. So Quinn Simmons won stage 3 of the Tour of Switzerland. Really impressive win. Like physically, and then it was important for him emotionally because of it was nearly the 2-year anniversary of Gino Mader's death. Not exactly on the dot, but he was quite emotional about it. But Quinn Simmons, he proves, Johan pulled out a number that he averaged 430 watts for the last 36 minutes of that stage. And that was not uphill the whole time. That's super impressive for rolling terrain. It's not clear that he's going to the Tour even. And just seems like Little Trek it seems like it's kind of a good fit for him. Like he's performing well when he gets chances, but he's just struggling for big chances on the biggest stage. What, other than going to your team, what would you suggest for Simmons' future?
Well, that's funny. I actually sent him a text jokingly, I'm coming after you in 3 years. And he's like, all right, bring it on. But no, I'm a huge fan of Quinn. In fact, he was, a lot of people don't understand how hard it was to recover from essentially watching the death of Gino Mader. They were descending down the mountain together, and he made the corner and the other one didn't survive. So, as a young kid, imagine how mentally difficult that would be to get past that. He came to Greenville to train before nationals, kind of unaware of what his next steps were going to be. It was a very traumatic experience for him. So I'm super proud to see how well he's bounced back. And the power this kid produces is insane. He's been doing it for a long time. And like you said, the numbers he did in that stage in Tour of Switzerland were incredible. The day before, the essentially lead out he did with 600 meters to go. They almost couldn't even go around him in a pro tour stage like that to be able to produce those kinds of watts in a sprint finish. And then again, in a long breakaway. Very, very impressive. So hopefully we can see that at the Tour de France, but like you said, it's not confirmed yet.
No, I would take him to the Tour, man. He can, first of all, he can win a stage. Plus, he can do anything. They have Skelmoza on the team, right? So Quinn Simmons with that power to put him in front of Skelmoza and drop him off at the crucial moments in the first half of the Tour. That's a guy. I would take him for sure. He has proven already that he is a good teammate when he has a job to do.
Skelmoza too. We talk about him being sick. He just won a race yesterday too. It was some rinky-dink race in Andorra, but really hard course and good riders like Enric Mas. He's been on a mountainous course. So you would go back to Visma this year. They showed you can do both. You can have a rider for stages. That rider can then help your GC rider. I would take him. I actually don't understand why he's not in the classic squad. Maybe he just doesn't quite fit in with.
I think that's probably I think that was a personal choice in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like the first year he raced, they put him to the Flanders types of classics. The second year, I think he was injured or not really quite there. But he's a young kid. He's got plenty of time to figure out exactly which ones he likes. But he can go up those short, steep climbs like nobody's business. And we saw it at the World Championships as well. First race he did in a while, and he was just top 10 with a ton of power. Very, very.
Yeah, he was the guy to follow Pogačar.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
probably could have. I think that's good that he did that. Probably could have gotten a better result had he not, because he's the only one crazy enough to follow Pogačar. Yeah. Eventually, I think that does probably make you better. There's some riders that I think maybe you just try to follow and see what happens. So that's good that he's doing that. Before we take off, we should mention Jordi Meus because he won a stage at this race on stage 6. He was the best sprinter at a non-sprinter friendly race. But did you guys watch Tour of Belgium? The last stage, Tim Merlier, holy smokes. He makes Jesper Philipsen. And we say this every year at Tour of Belgium. It's not the Tour of France, but he always makes Philipsen look, for the lack of a better word, kind of slow. And I think this is the year of Merlier. And then Philipsen is just the best Tour de France sprinter in the world at the moment.
Yeah, but Merlier right now, he is when he gets a free road, It's crazy. I mean, the stage 2 he didn't win because he was boxed in, but every time he got the room to sprint, there was nobody even close. You're right. Philipsen, when the Tour gets there, he's on point. He's on point. Plus, he has a great team. He has Mathieu van der Poel to lead him out. And Merlier is, I mean, the 2 sprints he had, he won here. I mean, he lost his train. Just, looked after himself. And, okay, it's the Tour of Belgium. It's not the Tour de France. But the difference with which he wins those sprints is crazy. It was his 10th win of the season, by the way. 10 victories already.
Yeah. And like you said, Philipsen will have a much more dedicated team to his sprints, where Merlier will have to sort of sail on his own because half the team will be there for Remco.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, Spencer Jody Meuse won the stage in Switzerland and then went on to win the new Pro Tour race in Copenhagen. So he's clearly on form. It's making up for a good sprint, some good sprint battles in the first couple stages of the Tour.
How's that allowed, Johan?
Yeah, they gave him the permission. You have to have the permission of the race in which you abandon. And so Tour of Switzerland gave him the permission to start in Copenhagen.
That makes sense, because why would he stick around and do a 30-minute time trial uphill? I do think Jordi Meus, don't sleep on him for the Tour. He's a very good sprinter. Obviously, he's won in the Champs-Élysées before, biggest sprint in cycling probably. But so Tim Merlier, you think like unbeatable, right? Really strange Grand Tour career. Like, do you know how many Grand Tour wins he has since Mads Pedersen won his first Grand Tour stage?
2
in 20. He's 3. So he won 3 stages of the 2024 Giro. The craziest stat is that's the only Grand Tour he's done since 2022.
But he won a stage in the Tour de France also.
That was now 5 years ago.
Okay.
Which is wild to think about. But but he just hasn't been on the start line of many Grand Tours in the last 3 years. So
I think it shows, also the faith that Soudal Quickstep has in him. The fact to put him on the team where Remco was third in the Tour last year, the leader of the team. Putting a sprinter in the team obviously, diminishes the strength of the team overall, because it's not just going to be Merlier. He's going to have his lead out guy also with him. And of course, then this lead out guy will also be able to do work on the flats when the Tour advances. But and even Merlier, I think Merlier is he's a good enough teammate to also, the stages where he doesn't have a chance, he will do something. But then you have to consider, well, a sprinter, they actually need to save all their energy in the stages that don't suit them to be able to have their full potential in the stages that a sprint is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll got plenty of time in the mountains to pedal along at 350 watts for 6 hours. Nice little recovery pace. Before we go, you guys both, I mean, Johan famously raced the Tour of Switzerland with great success, multiple stage wins, beating Sean Kelly in one of them. Very impressive.
That's a long time ago.
But George, have you done the Tour of Switzerland?
Yeah, I did it a couple times. A couple times with Lance, a couple times on my own. But yeah, probably half as many times as I did the Dauphiné.
Did you guys?
I have another stat which is unthinkable.
I actually won a stage in Tour of Switzerland. No, that was Dauphiné. Sorry, never mind. Scratch that.
One year, my last year pro, I did Dauphiné, Tour de Suisse, Tour de France.
That's insane. Is that like insane. A scheduling error or something?
Did you have to drop out of the Dauphiné?
No, I finished the Dauphiné and I was completely dead in Tour de Switzerland, had to abandon the Tour de Switzerland on the last day. And I mean, imagine Dauphiné, Tour de Switzerland, back to back. And Tour de France was shit. So,
well, actually, this was your last. Those were your last races, right? 1998.
Yeah. Then, I didn't race anymore after that.
you had your fill.
I said, okay, that's it.
But how do you guys as riders rate it to the Dauphiné? Like, is it nicer to do? Is it not as nice to do?
I think I always found it a nice race. The roads are great. The only thing that sometimes, I mean, this year not, but except of stage 1, but normally you have always one or two stages where the weather can still be a factor. But I think it's a great organized race. Always nice hotels.
Yeah.
It's great for the speed. I mean, I don't know what it is with the Swiss roads, but you know, the climbing speed you get in the Tour of Switzerland, you don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, and
Right,
the
George?
downhill speed too. I remember.
Yeah.
I think I hit the fastest I ever gone on a bike was like 112k an hour in Switzerland, and you don't get that anywhere else because the roads are so good, like Johan said. Very, very nice roads there, and great hotels.
Yeah,
it's almost like the roads are too good. As a spectator, it's like it might be my least favorite World Tour race of the year. No, Tour of Guangxi is my least favorite. This is my second least favorite, where you're like, okay, yeah, it's all pretty, it's all very nice, and it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a me thing, but the climbs are like, they're all so well engineered that it's a perfect race for João Almeida. Like he just made it look easy going up these things. All right, well, guys, do you have anything else to add? We're going to take a sabbatical. Actually, next time we will do a show, Johan and I will do outcomes the week of the tour debut, and then we'll all be together in Aspen. So we'll be away for a little bit getting ready for.
And let's not forget this year, you guys do the move, George and Lance and Bradley, and straight after every day, Bradley and I are doing a separate show where we're going to talk serious cycling business.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, very, very exciting. So we will be back. It will come sooner than we think. But thanks, guys, for joining, and
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.